somehow driven by the same.
I think, Adriana, just going on from what you're saying there,
Over the
we
next
might
couple
need to see Christos's bathroom that he's tiling.
Someone mute
Robert's
that.
off and Deborah and Norm, Aaron, Peter has joined. Yes,
I'll keep going, but I will show you
Michelle.
later.
So I heard someone
was that?
before say he was tiling. Is that Christos?
Yeah, I'm actually tiling at the moment in Adelaide.
If you keep things in a timely fashion, not something that if you know me, I said to my students the other day that an hour for me is anywhere between 60 and 90 minutes, and then heard myself afterwards and thought, well, you know, I guess that's how I do it. But in terms of this, I've made myself have a very stretchy through time couple of days here just to benefit everyone else and keep us on track, so that we can get the most out of the people that are here, and reflecting what people are saying. You know, this is an amazing experience, and it's the first of what we hope will be, you know, a number of conferences moving into the future. It's about time that we all shared the benefits of what we all have around the planet. Just hearing people speaking, you know, in the last 10, 15 minutes or so, it's quite clear that all over the world, we have this amazing range of people doing amazing things with amazing niches that I wouldn't even dream of. And I know that some of the people that are presenting at this conference in particular are going to present things that I have absolutely no idea about. And you've no idea how much that fills me with curiosity to think, what are these people going to say, and what's the effect going to be on me, and how wonderful it's going to be able to replay them afterwards again and again and learn at a deeper and deeper level from this experience. I'm so excited about that. I'm so excited. And everyone who's speaking is an expert in their field, absolutely, and without exception. And on top of that, all of you who are here are all experts in the field as well. And I agree with whoever it was that I said, I couldn't see who spoke when they said that to be here and amongst peers is such a special experience, because we get on with our day. We get on with our day, we teach, we have clients, we move through our day, we go to the supermarket, we do whatever we're doing. And it's hard to know just how much we're changing because we're busy being us in the eternal now. And it's only when we come up against our peers and listen and share our experience of our own viewpoint of this amazing array that we call life, this one time journey that's just the most incredible trip. I don't know what it's like for you, but I think every moment of it is absolutely exquisite, and I'm doing everything I can to extend my senses into it more and more with every passing second. And then I meet other people that are on the journey as well, and it's such a special experience to touch the other experiences and to learn and share at the quantum level as well, remember, every moment, and to cherish it and to take what's good from what other people are doing and incorporate it into my neurology as well, so that I can become aware of what it was that I did not know that I was unaware of. I just find it such a special experience to be able to do that. So I'm very, very grateful that everyone's here. You know, we plan whatever we plan to present this year, and we would love some of you to be presenting next year as well. Remember, this is just the beginning. We had this idea, what, about 2-3 months ago. Let's do this. We've never done it, or we haven't in our current format done it. We don't know how to do it. So let's have a go. Let's find out. And here's the result. We're all here. Isn't that wonderful? We have all together made this. Every person who signed up to be here has made this happen, as much as all the people who've worked behind the scenes, drinking vast amounts of caffeine and whatever it is, and holding each other's hands and laughing and sobbing and frankly going crazy at times and sending each other gifts that you could die crying laughing when you see them. But it's what we needed to do to get through the moment, and yet here we all are at the starting blocks, and it's such a pleasure and such a personal privilege as well to be asked to be the ringmaster on this journey. So my only job really is to entertain myself and to and keep things moving along in a timely fashion. Let you all in and out every now and again, and probably to have a great chance to experience with you what this wonderful experience is all about. So I guess it falls to me to introduce our first guest. Why not? Otherwise, we're just listening to me. And frankly, I have something in mind for us all tomorrow. And I think it's going to be an interesting experience for me to find out how it comes out. I have an idea how it's going to come out, but hey, I've never presented before in the way that I'm going to present tomorrow, so I have absolutely no idea what's going to happen when I open my mouth, and that is amazingly I don't even have the words for it yet. The words are going to come out tomorrow, but enough of me. Our first speaker is Dr. Kim Redman. Dr. Kim Redman is also one of the special advisors on the council for the ABH. She's a woman of presence and mission. Okay, she is there. She's a guide that helps people through this amazing and changing time. This is a special time on the planet, and special times require special measures. And Kim Redman's right up at the top of this. So I'm super excited to hear what she's got to say about it. She's a visionary. She's the CEO of Creatrix, and she's also the creator of Go Quantum, founder of Go Quantum University, where science and magic meet. And she combines ancient wisdoms with neuroscience, which is what I think is incredibly exciting for me about this particular presentation. Quantum science is catching up very quickly with the ideas that we all knew were true. We all knew it. But now, you know, the scientists with the stuff, they can also say it's true as well. And that means that it goes mainstream very, very quickly, which is great. So Kim's at the forefront of presenting this information out to the public. So what else can I say about her? She's been nominated for the top 100 most powerful women in the Maverick category, and most recently for the Conscious Leaders Award, supported by Forbes and the Entrepreneur magazine. And she's a multiple international rising bestseller. In her world, consciousness is a technology. Of course, in her spare time when she's not out spreading magic, she likes to play with mystical art, cooking. I don't know if that's mystical cooking. Maybe she can enlighten me on that. Macedonian food, hiking sacred sites, one of my favorite things to do as well, and generally hanging out in front of the fire with a big log fire at home with her husband and her big goofy dog, Merlin. All that is, Dr. Kim Redman, you have the floor.
Thank you so much, Mark. That was really sweet. Thank you. Can we give Mark a hand? And can we give a hand to all of the people who really put their energy into making this happen? To be the first speaker tonight is an honor. It is a privilege, and it is really just a joy of my heart. Now, I did put together a slide deck, so if I could have permission from somebody to share, and Adriana, that's on you. So if we could, someone could give me permission to share, then I will go forth. Do we have that yet? And while we're waiting for the sharing to happen, I want to tack on to what Mark has spoken about, that we really are in a very, very unique time period. This is the time period that has been written about in almost every area of ancient wisdoms, in every culture all over the world. This time period, we had songs, aha, I've got it, thank you, about the dawning of the age of Aquarius, and yet we're actually in Aquarius. So let's see if we can do this. Can you all see my slides? Awesome. So one of the things that I want to bring forward is very much what Mark said. I have been a mystery school and ancient wisdoms initiate for, oh dear, close to 40 years at this point. And one of the things that I love about this time period in science is we are now having our technology of science moving into lanes where they could have fast enough measurement, quantum measurements, where we can begin to confirm, as Mark said, what we all already knew. And I wanted to talk about the power of using consciousness as a technology. And although we're all about hypnosis and NLP and timeline therapy and results coaching and all of these deeply somatic, not thinking, deeply somatic, below the neck techniques where the great change happens, sometimes we're not thinking at it in this way. So, by the way, for those of you who are getting the slides afterwards, there's a QR code. We're giving away extra draws. Just take a flick and say, hey, to us, and we'll enter you in an additional contest. I'll leave that up just for a second. All right. So let's look at consciousness. We are, as we said, society is changing. And we know it's changing, new and old. Now, the point that I want to bring forward right away is this is the 5th time in recorded civilization that we've shifted our paradigm of the world and how we look at the world of quantum or spirit and matter. We had animism, we had polytheism, we had monotheism, we had scientific materialism, which was all about pulling pieces apart so we could analyze them in minutia. And at each of these times, if you look at this as a bell curve, as one system ends, another system comes up. And where these two arcs meet is chaos. Because we, for those of you who know values levels, we have a value level for society that's disintegrating as new ones are being built. So first of all, I'm going to say this is a time of incredible hope. And for all of us that have the ability to focus ourselves at 10,000 times the focus with hypnosis, staying in a place of hope is really, really important. In the last 4 years, I have spoken to over 250,000 people on how to create certainty in uncertain times. And I wanted to bring some of that forward tonight. I know we don't have a lot of time together, but I wanted to do what I could with the time that we have. So this time that we are speaking of that's dawning now, I'm going to say this to you. You cannot sleepwalk into your destiny. I'm going to say that again. You cannot sleepwalk into your destiny. It is said you must wake up and pay attention. Ultimately, we need to stay awake. Now, considering we all know that 90% of the time we are in a trance, the question, therefore, is not, are you in a trance? The question for all of us is only, which trance are we in? And who's driving that trance? And I'd love to go through this with you tonight and give you some more control over this. So I wanted to talk about discernment with permission. Discernment is the ability to make wise decisions, I'm reading the definition, in the present, for the future, based on your acuteness of judgment and understanding, fact-based research and decisions. And why this is so important right now is I'm going to show you Harvard and Yale have both done studies that we are losing our ability to have critical thinking, to have discernment, to have awareness. As a matter of fact, as of this year, our attention span has dropped not only below a goldfish, it's now at 3 seconds. 3 seconds. 3. And therefore, our ability to have discernment is also flicking through that 3 seconds. So what do we do to get discernment back? And what do we do to get critical thinking? Well, the first thing that you need for discernment is it requires silence outside of you and inside of you. I think that's really important because inside of you, we're also talking about, can we silence the voices in your head? Can we pause in that tape? And I think aged myself by referencing tape, the tape in your head. But that radio track in your head, it requires silence. Now, most of us are under bombardment all day long because the world is giving you this. We're getting bombarded by TV and media and messages. So Scientific American did a study in December of 2020. And that study said that information overload helps spread lack of discernment. Information overload helps spread fake news. And media knows it. Because repetitive, okay, trance people, what's one of the best ways to create trance? Repetition, repetition, repetition. What I want you to hear tonight or today, depending on where you're watching this, is when we get flooded with information, what happens is it's too much. So at the unconscious level, we shut down and we skim off the top whatever is loudest and fear-based. So we are being taught in our 90% trance to actually focus on fear-based. And I think if we're spreading service and we're spreading light and we're spreading hope and we're spreading love, that our mission here on the planet is to be able to give this back to ourselves and other people. So first of all, one of the set of techniques that we wanted to give you, and I know on some level you all know this, that it's the same in ancient wisdoms as it is in hypnosis and neuroscience. We need a break. So pause and breathe, because here's the rule. If it's hot for you, their trance has got you. I'm going to say that again. If it's hot for you, their trance has got you. And the only way to break it is to pause. Pause, take a few breaths, walk away, come back. Multiple source check. And with love in my heart, I'm going to say, make one of the sources outside the country that you're living in, especially in North America. Please, multiple sources. And choose the trance of hope. Because what we're looking for is a trance formation alchemically. Now, why? You're going, yeah, I get it. I get it. But why? What is the power of us all coming together at the quantum level? In my stick figure, lovely drawing of the quantum field, as we introduce it, down in this lower 3 dimensions is our solid stick figure. And according to astrophysicists and all-dimensional theory, guys, that's 4% of all of the information available to us. 4% is in the physical band. The rest of it is up through the morphogenic field being processed by our unconscious mind and higher selves. So in mystical reality, what we know is if we can get enough of us focused on thoughts and ideas above the band. It comes together and goes whoosh. And that is actually how we create a new reality. So we have our higher self that crosses this quantum band, and we have our unconscious mind that speaks to it. And this symbol that is on the screen right now is called the Vesica Piscis. And the Vesica Piscis, that little sliver in the middle, that oblong shape, is called the doorway to God, whomever you believe that to be. Literally how you create heaven on earth. You get your higher self lined up with your unconscious self. You get the programs clear out of your unconscious self. And you find that in your conscious self, your external reality begins to shift. So what we want to say to you is, how many of us need to get focused to light up a node on the planet, a light beam? Because the quantum field is, can you work it? And if you're not sure, please dive deeper into the amazing tools that you are going to learn over this weekend. Because hypnosis is one of the fastest ways to make incredible and profound personal change. Your higher self to your unconscious mind becomes a conduit. And from the scientific perspective, at the subatomic level, those little pieces, the muons and the quarks, are talking to each other all over the morphogenic field. They are talking to each other. And because they're talking to each other, that information is streaming down to us to create an alternate reality. So here's the numbers in the ancient wisdom schools. One person living this pulls 90,000 people with them. I'm going to say that again. One person living this has the ability to pull 90,000 people with them. And if you just got together everyone on this conference and set up a node of light, and we all pulled 90,000 people with us, now we're talking about numbers that are consciousness power. Now we're talking about the ability to actually create a net of light around the planet. A net of hope, a net of love. So I wanted to give you a couple more slides on the Vesica Piscis. This is consciousness as a technology. This is an overlay of the map of, as it says here, Eden, the Garden of Eden, but also here it is in the boson Higgs. So the boson Higgs, the God particle that has been found, that amazing vibrational thing of light that is in every single one of us, in every single cell and molecule in the universe. And it's also in the Great Pyramids of Giza. So when you start to find the same sorts of sacred geometries, the same sort of symbolic messages all over, we start to pay attention to the fact that these are frequencies. Mystics have been telling us for thousands of years, raise your frequency, raise your frequency, raise your radio station to get the life that you want. And here I'm going to quote Tad. You are the light, and the light is you, straight out of the Prometheus induction. This is what happens. So if we're looking for service, if we are looking to actually get the lives that we want, if we are looking to make change, that starts with our own discernment and awareness and critical thinking. So I'm going to ask you all, where are there places, maybe 5 minutes in a day, 3 times a day, 15 minutes total, where you can be quiet enough to pay attention to what's inside? And one of the questions I get all the time, is how do I know what is a high frequency or a low frequency thought? And by the way, emotions have frequency too. Joy has a much higher frequency level than, let's say, anger does. And it's a very simple answer. If when you are listening to media or the news, which we suggest that you highly limit, and you constrict, and your chest tightens or your stomach tightens, you know you have just been hit with a low frequency vibe. And if you're listening to it or you're reading it and you expand, then you know that you have just received a higher frequency bit of information. So the rule is at any choice you have during the day, and I mean, you can be silly about this. What ingredients do I put in my stew? And put 2 of them in your hand. And if one makes your heart happier, put that into your stew. At every choice point, if you pick the choice that has more excitement in it and more joy in it for you, that puts huge amounts of energy into your personal field and into the morphogenic field. And then it's not just what you're doing, it becomes who you are. So you're standing in the grocery line and you're beaming, and the woman behind you is having a bad day. And yet suddenly, just standing in line next to you, she starts to shift into possibilities because the possibilities are coming through the quantum field. We want to wrap the world in light. And I don't mean this in a woo-woo way. I mean this, how do I put this? I mean this in the best possible compassionate versions of ourselves, where we are compassionate with self and we are compassionate with others. It's not about not being human. It's about being the best version of human that we can be. A version where we continue to learn for the rest of our lives. So I'm so excited that everyone is here because, like Mark, there are some techniques I've never heard of here that I want to learn. Can we make learning part of the personal mission? So one of the gifts that you'll be able to access after the conference from us is our award-winning Transformations Healing with Joy. And look, it says CD download. That should tell you how long it's been there. And this is our initiates training set of MP3s now, where we have you use a set of sacred geometries in a certain order that actually changes your brainwaves, changes your frequency, and then gives you 2 healing inductions. It is made so you can actually bump up your frequency at lunch. You can take 20 minutes sitting in a car. You can bump up your frequency with this tool. So I want to look at this separation here. When we are in their trance, there's that sense that we're missing something, we're seeking something, we feel disconnected, we're not sure why. Because those circles that we talked about aren't close enough to make the Vesica Piscis. And what we're seeking instead is the inside world and the outside world come together. An elite life versus wholeness. So, what does that look like? And then I want to do a quick little induction with you while we're here, because I still have time. Right, Mark? All right. Excellent. And by the way, I heard people could take questions too. So if anybody has questions, please make sure you're typing them in. When you're manifesting the dream, we have our focus on the wrong circle. We have our focus usually on outer results. And with hypnosis, you have the ability to shift it for inner fuel, for happy, for healthy, for wealthy. In all the ancient wisdoms, this is how it works. It's like a champagne fountain where it's the universe and it's you. And then you are so full that you emanate out to your relationships. And your relationships are so full that they emanate out to the family. And the family is so full that it emanates out into work and then out into society and then out into the planet. In reality, most of us have that reversed. And we're going to invite you to make yourself part of the equation. Because when that locus of identity becomes internal, you get health and fitness. You get intellectual and mental wellness. We get emotional wellness. We get healthy beliefs. We get character traits. And we get the ability to access and, most importantly, hold at the neurological level the ability to access our divine aspects. You get results. And of course, these are the results we're seeking. Partner and intimacy, great parenting, increased social standing, great finance and career, quality of life rewards, impact, all of the things that we are seeking. So when we bring them together, you get all of them in the same place. You are putting your focus on your internal fuel, so you get your external impact. Now, all of you are here, and all of you are here because you want to make impact for yourself and for others. And I was wondering if you knew how amazing you were. I was wondering, truly wondering, and I hear it's good to wonder, if you knew how big your impact was. And so I'd love for you all to join me in just a short induction. So sit back, close your eyes, take a deep breath. Perfect. And as you're breathing, I'd love for you to imagine yourself walking along safely a large cliff where you can see wonderful and curious hills all beneath you. And as your curiosity begins to expand, you realize that one of those mounds begins to glow. You might hear the vibration, you might see the light. And as you breathe in the light, suddenly you realize that you are on the hill. And as you comfortably settle yourself on the hill, you realize that you too are glowing. And as you breathe, you begin to notice that there are other people on their hills and they're glowing. And as your heart breathes open and gold light comes around you and through you, it begins to connect you to everyone that has ever gotten you to where you are now. And it connects you to everyone that you will ever impact in the whole of this life. And as the light begins to connect you to everyone, and everyone's light connects to everyone else, And you begin to notice that the net of light is spreading not only across that hill and across that country, but across the world. You are valuable, and you are important, and you are worthy, and you are loved. And whether your impact is a small impact or a huge impact, every impact counts as we build a new life with greater discernment and value. And allow yourself to have that knowledge spread through every cell, molecule, and electron of your bodies. And when you're ready, just gently open your eyes. Welcome back, amazing humans. Welcome back. Welcome back. Oh, what questions do you have? What shares do you have? What did you see or feel or hear?
Okay, not everybody at once.
Hey, Bogdan. You're very welcome. You're very welcome, Lou and Nita and June. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Would anyone like to share what they saw or experienced? Other than your beautiful, beautiful smiling faces?
I was more on a cliff hanging bit, pointy bit, rather than like, I don't know, I suppose I wanted to go on a cliff edge that was quite long, but mine was more like a pointy one.
Oh, what a great way to get a view.
Yes. And I think I'm afraid of heights, but I didn't feel afraid. So.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. That's lovely.
Thank you. It was lovely.
Oh, you're very welcome. Very welcome. I see here in the chat, Nita says a mesh of light connecting people all over the world. Norma says she saw the cliff in Venezuela and she's never been there. Oh, that's fabulous. What a great way to travel in the quantum way. Rola says she saw the beauty of unity. Thank you. Ruth says thank you. Oh, that's lovely. You're so welcome. Oh, Phyllis imagines standing on the top of the sphere in Las Vegas. Ooh, that's brave. That's very brave. All right. And if anyone else would like to share, that's lovely. And otherwise, look at that. I'm handing back with time, Mark. I'm handing back with time. And I'm here for questions on this. Thank you. Thank you. We want you to know that you matter, you count, and your impact is much more significant than perhaps you thought it was. Oh, we have another on top of the world in the stars.
Ooh.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yvette says, thank you very much. It was a beautiful journey, and to be doing it all together was very touching. Oh, Becky's was near Mount Everest under a tree with sun rays. Oh, what a beautiful image falling on you and engulfing you. Norma, the thing I notice is that as long as I'm in the field, I can see and be very clear about what I'm seeing. However, as soon as I open my eyes, it's gone. And you know what? That's a really common comment, which is why going into even a 5-minute meditation or hypnosis induction is so powerful, because when we are in our imagination, it's not just us thinking about it, and we can perceive so much more from the field that comes out of your heart. Your heart is the densest neurological plexus that we have in our physical body. And between your heart and your imagination, your ability to experience to the fullest degree is something that's really, really powerful. Some beautiful cities. Coach B says it reminds her of the Master NLP class. Oh, where she asked Adriana about loneliness with growth and the hermit holding the light, the tarot card. You betcha. You betcha. We see a hand up. Ruth.
Me. You mentioned something about the attention span of 3 seconds. I've heard that many times, especially when you're trying to put a social media post on or videos or something, that they say you've got 3 seconds to grab someone's attention. That's really not very long, right?
No.
Do you think we'll get back to a bit longer?
I hope that we do, with an increase in discernment and awareness. And one of the challenges in front of us, I will say this: if we can reduce the amount of time that we scroll during the day, because that's actually the mechanism by which our attention is dropping. We're actually teaching our brains to auto sort rather than stay focused and perceive something all the way through to the end. So the less that we can scroll, and I know it can be a challenge, TikTok and puppies in the end, they're cute. And if we can reduce our scrolling, we have a great ability to have our own brain plasticity shift us back to a place where we can hold a greater focus. I like to challenge myself at least once a day, where I watch something that's 10 to 15 minutes long and note how many urges I have in the middle of it to just scroll. And the second I feel that in my body, I take a breath and I recenter and I say, this is my job in the moment, to increase my ability to go forward, because I'm in the world too. And we all do it. We all do it. It's a great question. Thank you so much for asking it.
Thank you.
Oh, all these great comments are here. Multiple glowing hills. Awesome. I see another hand. Lu Ha.
I'm from Hanoi, Vietnam, very far away, probably to many of you. Doctor, can you make it clearer? One point you say one living and 90,000 people with them.
Yes. Yes. In the ancient wisdom schools and in the mystery schools, it's pretty consistent amongst most of the traditions that when you have somebody who has raised their frequency, and that means they're able to do the behaviors of that frequency, not just the ideology of that. It's in their neurology. There's a cup to hold it. When they have that to actually go back to, holding that frequency in the morphogenic field raises the frequency of 90,000 people around them. So it's like hot water and cold water makes warm water. So the higher we have our frequency, the higher we take everyone with us. And any high frequency has the ability to take up to 90,000 people with them. And I found that hugely comforting. Hugely comforting. Because to me, what that meant was it's actually possible, folks. We can hit critical mass. in our lifetime. It's actually a possibility. And I think that's a possibility that when we have the fear memes coming out, that they're hoping that we don't remember. Well, I'm here to say, remember, we have the ability, we have the possibility, and the world really, really needs us now. I saw someone type something with the word delicious. Speaking of, it just got my attention. Delicious to be walking my dog in Dubai at 7 a.m. while attending a conference. See, delicious. Great word. Great word. And thank you so much. Any other questions?
I can feel relax of my muscle of face in your hypnotize. So the relax muscle face immediately. So I'm very useful and thankful for your lecture. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Yeah. You know, it is said we only use up to 40% of our brains. Can you imagine? Can you imagine if we grew the neurology? And by the way, according to brain science, actual neuroscience, you continue to create gray matter as long as you're learning something new. As long as you need it for your entire life, your brain keeps creating new gray matter. And considering with science, many of us will be here for a very long time. I think that's important. Any other questions? From Norma. Let me look. There's one in the chat. Yes, our emotions absolutely impact the expression of our DNA. Your unconscious mind is eavesdropping on your internal thoughts. And really, it is more important to pay attention to the universe in here than the universe out there. Because the universe in here is the universe that your body believes is real. And for all of us that are seeking to heal and transform and grow, you know, it's the hierarchy of needs. If our body believes that the bear is chasing you down the hill and going to eat you, it's not going to put our energy towards transformation and healing. So it is really critically important that we're doing the deep dive using these tools to clear out the old programs that we picked up when we were young. And I will remind you from neuroscience, we run what went in first, not what's best. So if we really want to change things in our consciousness sentinel and our reticular activation system, you know, most of us, or many of us, certainly the general public, are out there using the programs that they picked up in childhood and when they were 7, 8, and 9 years old. They're attempting to put a new life through old programs. And, you know, for heaven's sakes, we update our phones. We need to update this. So we invite you to invite them to continue to update their experience. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Any other questions for me before I hand you back to your lovely, lovely host? Let's put Taylor Swift and Metallica. Well, you know, we could, folks. We could fill a stadium. That would be lovely. That would be just lovely. Fill a stadium. And we put them through positive inductions. I'm all in for that. I'm absolutely all in for that. That would be hilariously fun. All right, if there are no other questions, then I am. I'm going to hand it back to you, Mark. And I am going to thank all of you for your time and your energy at all hours from all over the world. You guys rock. You really, really do. And I look forward to an amazing, amazing weekend. So go, guys, go.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kim Redman. Whoa, what a way to start the day. Gosh, I thought my coffee was good, but that was better than that, I tell you. You know, I think that's beautiful. Some of the things that really stuck out for me, I've got to say, was you cannot sleepwalk into your destiny. I love that. I love that. We're in the business of consciousness right here. We're in the business of consciousness. Awareness is the game, right? It's the answer. And where do we find it? Well, in silence, right? You know, meditation, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, that 3-second thing. Do you know, as a musician, if you listen to music back in the 90s, then the average amount of time before the lyrics came in was 23 seconds. And now it's 3. So I think that that's incredible. And it's actually measurable. To my producer friends in the music industry who pointed that out to me and pointed out the very obvious. And breath. Breath is power. Silence and breath together are incredible. And the whole quantum field of the 4%, of course, because absolutely everything else is completely undetectable. And that's ours, right? That's the realms of magic, you know. And one person can bring 90,000 with us. Whoa. How many people have we already touched, right? It's super important. And learning. Yeah, we're all in the process of learning. Let's not stop learning. I'm loving learning. I've never stopped. In fact, I've learned much more voraciously since I left school, because the one thing that they managed to teach me in school was how to love learning. And I've gone on ever since, and I encourage everyone else to do the same. And lastly, the other thing that jumped out for me that I just thought was really interesting was that we've had a change of government in the UK recently, and one of the first things, I don't know where this is going to go, but one of the first things that they've done is they've reintroduced critical thinking into the school curriculum, which is incredible. And I've no idea where that's going to go, but they said if they don't teach people to think, then we'll get left behind. So that's amazing, because it was removed from our education about 1920. And it's back in now 100 years later. So that's incredible piece of news from the UK in the last week. So always brilliant. Always brilliant. Thank you so much for sharing that information. My mind is on fire at the moment. I probably need a quarter of an hour to get over it. So not that I'm ever going to get over it. But just before I let you have a 15-minute break, while you put your brain on curling mode and prepare for the amazing presentation that is Ewan